For nearly a year, we have been testing people.
Bomb into the glass!
We have been pushing people.
Leaving Hangman out of Page.
You have exactly 4 weeks to step up and become the man. Everybody wants you to become cowboy shit.
And make this a Texas death match! Because I would ride through death itself to take that world championship!
You got 48 hours, cowboy. You are Texas death.
Jon Moxley is the face of AEW. With 4 reigns as AEW World Champion, including his current one, he has proven time and time again that he may be the most valuable wrestler for All Elite Wrestling. However, when you think about it, Moxley went on to become the face of AEW when others wavered, were injured, or simply had other factors that kept them from being the guy. Don't worry, Moxley is always there, but we know that big question that may have made you watch this. Could he join WWE in the future and leave AEW? We'll get to it, but there's a lot to cover as to why maybe that could happen. It's really hypothetical. We'll get into it. This is Sportskeeda Wrestling. I'm Kevin Calm. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Do you want to see Jon Moxley do something different in AEW? Should he stay or should he go? And there's a lot of other things that we will get to. Yes, we know the facts. We'll touch on all of them. The face of AEW role was maybe not intended for someone like Jon Moxley. Maybe it was meant for someone like Kenny Omega or Cody Rhodes. They were part of the EVPs that helped get AEW going, with Tony Khan financing the entire thing and putting it on the map. Moxley was an outsider who came fresh off of discontent in WWE, looking for creative freedom and a chance to rediscover himself as a pro wrestler, which he did, and when he did, it was All Elite's benefit. But when the company needed someone to step in and play that top-level role, he was the first one to do it. In 2020, the pandemic, just as things became really challenging for the world, he became world champion. The pandemic turned the wrestling world upside down, but Moxley carried the weight of a new company during those tough times. Then again in 2022, with all the backstage chaos involving CM Punk, AEW once again leaned on Moxley without hesitation, and he delivered. With his consistency and challenges he had outside of the ring, Moxley became not just the company's workhorse, but its heartbeat, and maybe in the eyes of some, its leader in the locker room. But here's the thing. When a wrestler is constantly relied on to carry the load at the top, bring legitimacy to major storylines, burnout just with the fans, not with the wrestlers themselves, may feel inevitable. There's just a general sense of we want something different, even though we like this guy and appreciate what he does. And now, with fresh talent rising and AEW storytelling shifting gears and a whole new crop of talent primed to upheave, as it looks like that may be a thing heading into the upcoming All-In card with Moxley still holding the world title, his role as the savior might be nearing its natural conclusion. Not just because it's good enough to do that right now, but because maybe people's patience with him at the top is waning. And for some of you screaming at your phones or wherever you're watching this on, we understand you. Let's just break it all down. Currently, he is holding the AEW World Championship, and it's arguably, objectively, the worst title reign he may have had at the top of any wrestling promotion, WWE included. Fans simply have lost interest in this reign of a maniacal, overzealous Jon Moxley. He's having a high level of performance, but the storyline just hasn't captivated. What's the term that the kids love? The aura. Yeah, isn't there because we don't even get to see the title. It was a clever thing to hide the championship, but since he won it at Wrestle Dream in a big way in October of 2024, defeating his former ally in the Blackpool Combat Club, Bryan Danielson, and seemingly retiring him in such a significant way, you think all of that would give him a whole lot of evil mojo to run with. but it didn't run that long. Moxley winning the title in this circumstance kind of felt unnecessary when you pull back and look at superstars who are really ready to run with that belt, like Hangman Page, who's going to challenge him for the title coming up, and Darby Allin, who probably, maybe in the eyes of some, could have also been a world champion. Still, wrestling logic is you need a villain to be chased, and an overzealous kind of, I believe in the purity of wrestling, Moxley became the villain that they wanted to try and do that with. But he's hiding the title in a bag and has all of the, chicken shiz, cowardly heel things around him. He doesn't feel like the badass he was before. Instead of pushing new wrestlers to the main event scene, AEW gave the title to someone they've trusted before, and the logic is there to trust him. But eventually, the audience isn't going to ride with that long. And yeah, you want a heel champion to be booed, and you want to see someone beat the heel for the belt. That's not the problem. Mox has always been able to be a ride or die guy for AEW, one that showed up when things fell apart. He's the guy, and the company gave him creative freedom and influence that he should have, and he's earned, and obviously isn't abusing since he's been this version of himself since leaving WWE. So on the surface, it feels unthinkable that he would walk away from WWE. But loyalty has limits. New opportunities for a creative person like him are obviously there. This isn't about pro WWE or pro AEW. It's about pro wrestler who wants to find some purpose in how they perform. We are not trying to implant our observations here onto a conflicting reality. If AEW continues to use Moxley as an emergency fix in the main event and not craft a deeper, more meaningful, fresh arc for him, a completely new character, maybe after he loses the title, the man who once left WWE to rediscover his passion is going to have to rediscover his passion, or at least find a new creative crossroad beyond where he's at right now. And it's time. The audience kind of wants it. And obviously, WWE under new ownership, new creative leadership, might be an opportunity for him. And obviously, WWE loyalists and fans who are just all like, come back to WWE, they would freak out if he walked out at a Royal Rumble. But here's the fact, the reality. Moxley, as I record this, is reportedly contracted to All Elite Wrestling into 2027 and has professed a passion for the challenger brand AEW significantly. He has not expressed publicly a desire in any way to leave AEW. Now, could he leave when his contract is reportedly up? Is he still going to be an active full-time wrestler then? It's a lot of question, but I mean, if the opportunity was there, he would at least consider it, right? It seems like Jon Moxley is ride or die for AEW, and the company is game to give him the freedom to express himself and tell the stories he wants. No goofy on-the-page scripts, no watered-down persona that maybe Moxley was tired of when he was Dean Ambrose. Raw, real, gritty, and hardcore. He's been able to do a lot of that in AEW, and it seems like that style is really satisfying him. Still, those that clamor for a return to Ambrose, yes, we hear you out there. If he was to come back to WWE, it would be a welcomed thing. He would be brought back with open arms, maybe even offered a proper final chapter for the Shield. Yes, yes, yes. That generational trio he had with Rollins and Reigns. That's a WrestleMania main event on paper, a triple threat right there. It's not impossible. Just look at Cody Rhodes, one of AEW's founding members, an EVP, the face of the company that challenged WWE and changed the entire business of pro wrestling and made it even possible for Moxley to leave WWE for a well-financed competitor. No one expected him to go back to WWE the way he did, but he did, and he returned in a massive way, and by the time he got there, he was reinvented and one of the biggest superstars in all of wrestling. And then there's CM Punk. After walking out on WWE in 2014 and having some very bitter circumstances in a courtroom with them afterwards, he would never step foot back in WWE. Yet in 2023, he shocked the wrestling world and did that in a really, really big way after his controversial run in AEW. If those two names that we mentioned return to WWE the way they did, Jon Moxley doing the same thing when he's contractually able to isn't out of the question. Never say never. Wrestling is truly unpredictable, and while he's been loyal to AEW and seemingly continues to be and has that current creative role, the way WWE now operates under Triple H could really be a lucrative thing for him. Ever since Triple H held the creative pen in WWE, wrestlers have expressed their pleasure performing for him in his creative vision and having more influence on their performance in general. Moxley left the company back when he was very frustrated with the creative oversight and overriding of one Mr. McMahon, Vince McMahon. So now with McMahon out of the picture, this is a different WWE that has billions and billions of dollars of resources behind it. It has flaws, even under Triple H. It's far from perfect. But it's a different WWE that may be interesting for Moxley to try at that point in his career. And for a Moxley who thrives on being raw and real and a little bit unpredictable to the eye, this version of WWE could be far more interesting than the WWE he left. His peers in the Shield, Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins, have had the run of their careers in the absence of Moxley being there. Roman had one of the most dominant reigns ever, holding the WWE Universal Championship for more than 1,000 days. Seth played a huge role in that storyline and helped Cody Rhodes dethrone him at WrestleMania 40 in what may be one of the best WrestleMania endings of all time. I know we're stretching here. If Moxley would have been a part of that WWE at that time, there's no doubt that when he hit the ring, the response would be massive. Imagine him being inserted into that narrative, reuniting, clashing, or betraying his Shield brothers at the biggest levels of the business now, with this level of storytelling and detail over time that maybe he felt was lacking when he left. WWE is executing on those things in significant ways that differ from when he was Ambrose. Yeah. When the Shield music played at WrestleMania 40 in Philadelphia in the closing moments of Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes, the stadium erupted for a split second. Some who didn't know what he was doing outside of WWE, who were just within the WWE bubble, were like, wait, is Ambrose showing up? Yeah, some people are going to do that. And that's okay if they don't know what he's doing on another channel with another company. And they can have that feeling, and that's still pure wrestling love. He may have left WWE with a sour taste in his mouth in 2019 and redeemed himself somewhere else creatively, but his legacy, especially as a member of the Shield, still remains. For a generation of fans, putting those three fists together is still an image that holds a place in their mind forever. Imagine the fantasy booking and reality of Moxley coming back to WWE and that crowd, no gas mask, no scripted weird inoculation storylines that he felt unhappy with, reuniting with Seth Rollins, reuniting with Roman Reigns, or standing across from them as enemies and foes. It's all on paper. It sort of writes itself, at least at that initial level, and has a lot of marquee value. It's a storyline that we need to see before all three of these guys hang it up. Also, there's a whole flurry of new, fresh matchups for him with names like Gunther, Jacob Fatu, L.A. Knight, Drew McIntyre, and Damian Priest. However, before we could think of Moxley making the jump to WWE, we have to go one straight ahead here. It's that his contract, as we mentioned, is not going to come up anytime soon. This isn't something that's going to happen in the next few months. He's locked in with them for a significant period of time. And in these 2 years, AEW needs to protect him at any cost and give him a new, fresher role that adds all of the game-changing, flip the world on its head magic that he had when he came over to All Elite back in 2019. And just having the AEW World title hidden in a bag doesn't automatically mean that magic is going to continue. Yes, in this scenario, we understand how bad, in all of the hypotheticals, this would be for AEW to lose another superstar like Cody Rhodes or CM Punk, with Moxley going back to Ambrose or whatever it would be in that laid out fantasy booking thing we're talking about here. They lost Jade Cargill. They lost Mariah May. It would be another defection. But this is pro wrestling with two major players who offer big money deals and a big platform. You also have legends like Bryan Danielson and Sting retiring. The company is short on main event legitimized star power at the top level. They need someone like Moxley, and right now they can't afford to lose him. He's not just another top guy, he's really the soul and the face of AEW. What do you think? Let us know in the comments below.